Black Country Blokes chewing the fat.
Listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the mums, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen.
I've been here. This is the Black Country Blokes showing about everything it is, men's mental health, disability and life in general. Here with me, Kev Dillon, my partner in crime, as always, Lee Cadman. And today we're going to be talking about Dravet Syndrome, which everyone knows is close to our hearts, with Lee's youngest daughter having it and all the amazing things that him, his wife and family members are doing. The run, the walk, all to raise awareness and money for Dravet Syndrome. But as always, we're going to start with our gratitude list. Now, we had the bank holiday weekend and it was great. I mean, we went to Bridge North. I haven't been there in blooming ages. And you forget how lovely it is right on our doorstep. But we went there, then we went... Well, no, it was one of them. We did lots, but nothing at the same time. We went out, like, just walking through Bridge North, we had a bite to eat, walked down the river. And then other days we just chilled in. So I'm just happy that we're all healthy, well, and we've got each other. What are you grateful for, bro?
You know what? People might have seen that I've been releasing videos every day. And at the end of it, I end with a grateful thought. And I just want a few of them that I've used in the last 6 days. Resilience, hope, and fight. I can't remember all of them. But I think those things, I'm grateful for all those things. You know, they've pushed us through a lot over the last 10 years with the little one. And long may it continue having all those.
I mean, who else is doing the run and walk, Lee?
So my wife Nikki's doing it. She's walking it. We've got Mandy, who is Calla's PA, and she's walking along. Tilly, who is Mandy's daughter, she's doing it, and my mommy's. I think the overall target we're looking to get to is 1,600, and we're about halfway there now between us all. So it's been fantastic. You know, we're 6 days in, so I'm very impressed that we've managed to that. I'm very grateful for all the people who've donated.
When the girls are doing the 2K, you're doing 5K.
So sometimes the girls will do a 5K as well. So it's all, you know, the kind of the challenge is you can either do 2K or 5K, swim, run, walk, cycle. So you can mix it up between those kind of 3 things and the distance. But I've chosen to just do run 5K every day.
Now you find it, we're laughing about it. I never realised you didn't like running because you've always done running on and off.
Yeah.
And we were laughing, saying, "Oh, we're a bit older and fatter." And everyone knows when you get to a certain age, everything gets hard. But credit to you, bro. You know, doing it every day.
Well, I've only ever run because of boxing, because it's a good way of dropping weight. It's a good way of getting your fitness levels up. And for some reason, I'm not a fast runner, but I don't stop. I can keep going and keep going. But I don't enjoy it. I'm not one of them who, you know, I like a run. It clears my head. It clears that. All I think about on a run is when it's going to be finished, basically. When's this going to be finished? Although that has changed slightly with this run, because I'm running for something that's not for myself, because the boxing and that was all for me. And now I can think about the thoughts of the little and all the other people who suffer with Dravet. So, you know, there's motivation behind it, but I'd be lying if I said I enjoyed running.
Do you listen to music or podcasts?
So that's the funny thing. I've been listening to a cracking audio book, in all fairness, Trading Games by Gary Stevenson, but it's finished. And I did the first 2 days listening to that audio book, and then it come the Saturday and my legs were aching. I was a bit like, God, I just need this out of the way. And thought, I'm just going to put some music on for this one, a bit more motivation, you know, because I love listening to audio books, but it doesn't drive you to run. Or, you know what it's like, Kev, don't you? A bit of music in the background gets you going. So I did that, and I posted my fastest time on tired legs of about 25 minutes. So there's definitely a benefit to listening to that. But then I thought, I've got another, God knows how many days of this at that time. So I thought I'd better switch back to an audio book to slow myself down and make sure my legs are good for it all.
What kind of music do you listen to on your run?
So that on that day, it was ring walk tunes, funny enough, going back to the boxing, and it was a lot of AC/DC and Metallica and classic rock, I suppose.
Because it's funny, like normally when I walk my daughter to school, on the walk back, I either phone you or what I've been constantly trying to do lately is have that mile just on my own, in my own head, and it's something I'm purposely trying to do at this particular moment. And that's what I was wondering, like with the running, whether it's like distraction or sometimes just living in the moment of the run and feeling the aches and pains and the birds tweeting, the cars beeping.
Yeah, I've always just run to something, I suppose. So I've never really, and like I say, I don't enjoy it. Like I don't mind. I'd walk quite happily that mile with nothing up, but I don't know whether I could do it running. I think I need. And I still, even like I say, I'm listening to an audio book, but actually I'll drift away from that audio book and I'll think about other things. You know what I mean? So like that audio book, when I'm running, I probably don't, goes in, but I probably don't actually listen to it.
It's just something.
Something, yeah. And then every now and again, you'll tune back into it because maybe you say it's a certain word that perks you up or moves you back over to it. But yeah, it's just something in the background.
Because are you familiar with your run there? Have you got a set path that you're running?
Well, for the first few days, I kept mixing it up, trying to kind of find the best run. When I lived at the old house, so we moved roughly 2 years ago, and I haven't really ran since then out on the road. But I used to have paths that I could tell you exactly how far were before doing it, and I haven't really worked that out yet. I've kind of stuck the last 2 days to a run that is relatively flat, and again, it's just for the fact I know I've got many more days of it, so I don't want to, push it. So basically, I'm running from my house to Mary Stevens Park, round the pond a couple of times, then back.
Because I was just thinking, because do you have like an inner monologue when you're talking, when it gets hard, you start really talk to yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So when you come to those hills, those up hills, I think you've got to do that. I either do that or I'll challenge myself to do it. So I'll chase a car up the hill. You know what I mean? I'll try and beat the car up the hill. If it's in traffic, obviously, I won't beat it. But I'll do things like that, or I'll look ahead and run to that lamppost. And so I definitely talk myself into doing it more.
And what kind of things do you say when you talk to yourself? Just asking, because when I've got the lads downstairs and it's like, I don't know, we're doing a 3-minute round or whatever, and I say when it starts getting tough, even when we're doing the plank or punching, or I say just start counting. I personally do that. I either talk to myself saying, come on, by any means necessary, we've got to go over it, through it, and I say all these different things, or I start just simple counting, because I think whether it's a 2-minute clock or 5-minute clock, and if I'm there going 1, 2, all the way to, I'm thinking I'm going to beat the clock in my mind.
Yeah.
Because often when we give up, we're a lot closer to the finish line than we actually necessarily think we are.
Yeah. Very similar to that. The only thing I'd add is I won't give up. I know I won't. It's not that I will run every single step of that run. I've never stopped running. You know what I mean? Any time I've set myself to run somewhere, I've never not made that distance. And I think that a lot of that's stubbornness. So I don't look at it like that, but I will look at it in challenging myself and pushing myself, like you say, the monologue of talking yourself to not keep going, to realise it's not going to be the worst thing. If I run that five most of my minutes is 30 minutes to do that. That's 30 minutes of my whole day. That is not going to be, if that's the worst suffering I face within that day, then it's a miracle. 30 minutes. Yeah. And what I mean by that is I have to watch a little, and I posted it on one of my videos. The Saturday and the Sunday, she'd had 7 seizures on both days, and I don't mean little seizures, she has them constantly, but 7 tonic-clonic big seizures that just wipe her out, absolutely wipe her out, that required rescue meds. And I was saying I have to watch that go on. So running for 30 minutes, I'll do it either way. You know what I mean? It's non-negotiable. It's easy. It's not easy, but it's not something I'm not going to do.
And are you kind to yourself when you talk? Because it's funny, when I talk to loads of the fighters, some people go, come on, champ, 2 more miles, 2 more. And other people are blasting themselves like the worst enemy. Would you say you're kind to yourself?
I am now. I never used to be.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. When I was boxing, I'll be very much on myself. Not when I was, but previously, should I say, when we were training to box, I was on it myself. But since the little one's come along, since we've done this podcast, I don't have that anger in me now. So I don't fight on that anger, if that makes sense. So I don't know, it doesn't, not anymore. It's positive.
It's not. You've kept the determination, but not the anger.
Yeah,
And almost like the self.
the anger doesn't drive me now. Like the anger's, especially when the little one was first kind of diagnosed, there's a lot of anger. But that's gone now. Realise how beautiful my life is, her life is, the family's life. That what have I got to be angry about?
It's interesting, isn't it, how we change and what lights the fire? Because the fire still needs to be lit, but what actually lights it now? And as you say, sometimes you're doing it out of love instead of hate, and the hate for the world. For the
I think there's very much a bitterness to it, and not exactly the world's against me, but just a bitterness to it. And for me, it's not good for me to be in that mind space.
I heard a lovely saying about being bitter. Being bitter is like drinking bleach and expecting someone else to die from it. But the only person it kills is yourself.
Yeah.
And it's right, isn't it, when we blame this and why me and all that does is it makes you angry. And
it doesn't change it.
No, I like saying like, what ifs can't make you happy? What if Calla had been born able-bodied? How about if I hadn't lost my eyes? Hey, but that's a universe we don't live in. And all that, thinking about that alternative universe can bring you sorrow. Resentment.
Obviously, I've often thought about how life could have been different.
Of course,
but then I wouldn't be where I am. My family wouldn't be where they are now, and we're definitely 1,000,000% better people because of Calla's disability.
I mean, you found it early doors because you thought it was bronchiolitis, was it?
Yeah, so she went into hospital like my other two children, my other two older children, at bronchiolitis at 4 months old. And she had a seizure while she was in Russell's Hall, and they put it down to bronchiolitis and high temperature. You know, plenty of children have seizures, but it carried on. Basically, it didn't stop. So, and that's when tests start coming out and start doing this, and yeah, it was a long wait to get the test results back because it's a DNA test. But about 8 months later-ish, we had the confirmation. But we knew at that point. We'd already kind of started researching, and it's because it's such a rare epilepsy and medicine resistant. It didn't take a lot of working out to find out what was going on with Dr. Google.
I'm right with epilepsy. What is it? Just an abnormality in the brain? Is it just one of those things?
No, Calla's is a gene mutation. So there's something wrong with a gene, or that gene is not present. Epilepsy can be caused for a number of reasons, so that's just Dravet Syndrome.
And that's what it is. It's a gene mutation.
Yeah.
It's not hereditary. No one else.
No, well, it can be hereditary, but we were part of a 100 genomes project, me and my wife, where we got and Calla, where we got tested, and I couldn't even tell you the test for everything for your DNA, and me and Nikki got tested, and it's not within our DNA, so it's just one of those things that happened. Now, the good thing about that is, obviously, if my other two decide to have children, it'd be very unlikely that they carry that gene and pass it on.
And with it, like, because I didn't realise, once again, I'm ignorant to it. You don't know about it because it's not on TV, and I've learned through having you on, and we've had guests on before with children. But it's like a massive scale to it, like, whereas Paul Calla's got a rather severe version of it, and it's left to like being brain damage, whereas other people can have a milder version. Is that correct?
Yes, similar to like autism. You see, some people you wouldn't know had it, and other people suffer it quite bad. So yeah, there's a scale to where you land. I mean, one of the reasons, so obviously we're raising money doing this 5K for Dravet Syndrome UK, and they do things like provide specialist equipment, whether it be seizure monitors for the night, oxygen sensor monitors. They fund or funding goes towards research for new medicines and things like that. But they also do a weekend where they pay quite a considerable amount towards the families going to Centre Parks, and we're there. It's over the Father's Day weekend every year, so June the 14th ish, I want to say. So yeah, they fund that, so, and that's where you get to meet all the other families, and you kind of see how severe Calla is then when you see all the other ones and they're running round. When I say normal, but you know what I mean by that, and you see the differences in it in each one of them. Now, diagnosis has got better as well, so it's diagnosed quicker now, which means the medicines are put in place quicker. Still no guarantee, because like I say, it's medicine resistant. But, you know, as time's gone on, it's got better. And there is new medicines coming out, which potentially will be really, really life-changing for children with Dravet.
Well, we've seen it over the last 10 years, haven't we? The different stuffs that she's been introduced to, from, what's it called, a zapper, I always call it?
VNS.
And do you want to explain what VNS
So
is?
a VNS is a vagus nerve stimulator, and it's essentially a pacemaker, but instead of being attached around your heart, it's attached to your vagus nerve. So when your heart rate goes up, which usually happens when you have a seizure, it gives this vagus nerve a little electric shock, and it potentially stops the seizure. And it goes off constantly as well, so it goes off every 5 minutes regardless. And we also have a magnet that if we see she's going into a seizure or she's in a seizure, we can swipe over it and it will give her a higher dose of electric shock, basically.
So even like the cannabis oils,
Yeah,
things like that's made a massive difference, hasn't it?
yeah. So she's on one of the first children in the UK to be prescribed cannabis oil, Epidelex. So she's on that. She's been on that now. Well, I want to say between 5 and 3 years. It's hard to keep track. Yeah.
But it's amazing, like, when people think about cannabis and it's pharmaceuticals, but it has, out of all the things I can recall us talking about, that's been one of the biggest changes, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's that definitely has. In truth here, when she started that, it was actually 2017 or 18, thinking about it, and she'd been in a coma that year for practically 2 months. She'd been in a coma, and going back to Centre Park, she'd fallen ill at Centre Parks. I wasn't there that year, you know, the Dravet weekend. And one thing they do with the Dravet weekend is they have an ambulance on standby. So there's always an ambulance for the whole of that weekend for any children who need to be, or adults to be fair, who need to be taken to hospital. And she was at that weekend, and the ambulance took her to Kingsmill Hospital, and she was in other hospitals as she was passed around. She was in a coma for 2 years.
2 months.
2 months, sorry. And what I think what that did is it had, because she was Kingsmill, Stoke Hospital. There was another one I can't remember at this point. But anyway, she was in a few, and I think that what that did is other people then looked at what was going on with Calla. So there's a few changes made there, and she come out of that in a better situation in terms of medically. Now, it took a long time to recover, but in terms of putting things in place, it was better. And then the cannabis oil came in. So it's hard to judge the full impact of it because the treatment had changed. But that's not, I know it has impacted a serious amount, because basically at that point she used to sleep for pretty much 8 hours a day. She was on full-time oxygen. She was fed through a tube, never ate anything. And now she doesn't use oxygen unless she has a really severe seizure. She eats the vast majority of the time unless she has a really bad seizure day. And she's just a happier kid. You know, she doesn't sleep at all in the day now, and again, unless she has some bad seizures, she's up and about and playing.
And what does the cannabis oil do?
In truth, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Whatever it does, it's working its magic.
That's it. It's working its magic. It'd be great, because at the moment with the medical cannabis, there's no THC in it, which is actually the stuff that gets you high. So I understand why it's not in it, but there is trials in America where a small amount is within it, and that has even better effects. So it'd be nice if they explored the whole thing, really.
And I think when it's working, keep trying it. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not clever enough to say either, and I'm definitely not a doctor.
No, but I think it's one of those things that needs to be studied.
Studied, yeah. And if people are willing for it to be studied on,
yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure there would be enough people. There's and truthfully, the cannabis market has turned into a bit of a minefield now because it's not regulated as well. We see it all the time where they're selling cannabis, and I don't mean your backstreet dealers. I mean, you get to Holland Barrett's, you can buy cannabis oil now, but the problem is there's no regulation involved in it, so it's there's no understanding of it either. There's different strengths of it. I don't mean the thing that gets you high. There's different strengths of the stuff without that in. So I think it needs someone stepping in and going, actually, this is good for you, but there's no point in selling this at 500 milligram because it does bugger all. Yeah. But at 6,000 milligram, it makes a huge difference.
I mean, in the 10 years you've been in this game with obviously Cal and Nick, it has got better, hasn't it, with the research and with people like Dravet Syndrome UK. I mean, it's got better, but you are a different person how you were, and we've talked about it a lot. Like, even when I went to Centre Parks, when you were first there 10 years ago, or when you first did your coaching course and there's a guy with a Dravet Syndrome t-shirt, you wouldn't have necessarily engaged with them.
Well, I didn't.
But you are now that man who would purposely seek out the conversation to make someone's life better, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of, again, I had a lot of anger about it all then. And really, do you want to be passing that on to someone else? And because it wasn't a good situation, it took a good number of years to kind of get used to it. We was phoning an ambulance every single week when she basically from 4 months old to probably 3 years old. Literally every single week we were phoning an ambulance. We had open access at Russell's Hall, and I spent more time up there than I care to ever remember. Lovely people, by the way. You just don't really want to be spending time up there. So there was a lot of anger. There was a lot of anger about the situation. There was a lot of it's a lot to get used to, There was a lot of guilt on my side because we spent the vast majority of time, obviously, with Calla looking after her, but that means you're neglecting the other two children, and there's no other way of doing it. It is what it is. But at the time, it made me feel guilty that we were doing that. Thankfully, I don't think it's affected them at all. I think they fully understand it, but it still didn't stop the guilt at that time. So yeah, I want to talk to anyone. I want to pass that on. I probably wouldn't have had the confidence to either, because then I'd have had to talk potentially about my feelings and what I thought. And it's only through this podcast that's now easier for me to do. Like, I still get choked up now. Like them videos I do in the morning. Sometimes I'll read, like, because I'll write that down before I do. You can do it off the cuff, can't you? You find that kind of, to me, one of the hardest things about that challenge was starting them videos, to be quite honest. And it's because I'm running, so I'm already a bit knackered, a bit emotional, and then I have to talk about her. So I do stumble on my words. I do find that hard. So yeah, but 10 years ago, I wouldn't have done those videos. Definitely. I wouldn't have had the confidence. I wouldn't have been able to open up to do them. So,
and I think it does reach out to people, whether their kids got Dravet, epilepsy, leukemia, whatever. I mean, when it's your baby and you're a parent or a grandparent or a guardian or a sibling, whatever it is, you understand the kind of pain that people are going through, don't you?
Yeah.
And you realise that when people are talking about it honestly, saying my child was up having X, Y, and Z all night, it rings true to you, because even when your child's got tonsillitis and you have that sleepless night worrying about your baby, and that's not like a life debilitating disease, and hopefully with a bit of penicillin the tonsillitis goes, but you think to yourself, flipping heck, how would I be in that situation?
Well, when I speak to new parents who's come along with any kind of disability now, I don't feel sorry for them for having the disabled child, because I think the vast majority realise what the blessing of that is in the end. But what I do think is you don't realise how hard you're going to have to fight. And that makes me sad. That does. I just think because everything, absolutely anything you can think of that should be provided, you have to fight for.
Mm.
And if you don't do that and you don't speak up, you'll just be left behind, struggling even harder.
And that's from education to funding to equipment, childcare, respite.
That's it.
And you're thinking things are put in place that those things are there. So why on earth did I make it so blooming hard to get the thing that you're entitled to?
Yeah, well, that's it. I don't know why it is, but it is. It is. And as I say, that's the thing. I just think you will adapt your life for that child with a disability, and then you will have a happy life. The vast majority, if you let yourself, because again, you can hold on to anger, you can hold on to that bitterness, but if you let it, and it will be joyful, it'll be fantastic. You will celebrate milestones that you probably didn't think you'd ever be, the daughter or son, whatever, would never reach. But the other side of it, you're gonna have to grow a backbone in ways you will never think. You're gonna have to. You can't be shy about it. You've got to just tell people how it is.
Remember, what's that course that you went and did? Oh, I can never remember it.
The SEN law course by IPSI.
I mean, by that, what made it so good was because you now on two sides of the same coin. You've been there fighting for your rights and not having a Scooby-Doo what you were doing, but standing there and whatever. But now you've got that knowledge, and once again, it's passing it forwards to the other parents and guardians.
And I suppose the difference I have is that I've been to a tribunal, and as I've spoken here before, I've never ever been to court, never been in a prison, never done anything like that. And that's the only way I can explain that it was like I was going to court. But it's like I was going to court with absolutely no knowledge of what we'd done. You know what I mean? Like you're on trial here, but you're not guilty. You know, kind of you're innocent. You're just fighting for something that should be provided.
It's how to make you feel guilty for fighting for the rights.
It's the underhand, dirty tricks that happen. Again, it was just a horrible, horrible experience.
At least you can be there to guide other people through and saying, no, fight for it because you are entitled to this.
That's it, and give them the way to navigate the underhand tactics, because there is ways of doing it that they have to uphold. It's just you have to know those ways.
And even when you write one of those things, saying it's like Kevin, it's not, oh, if you got time, Kev can go swimming. It's got to be Kevin must go swimming twice a week, and it's
twice a week for half an hour, and must be supported by a qualified swim instructor. It has to be very specific. You could even get more specific and say which swimming pool.
But it's got to be black and white, hasn't it?
It's got to be black and white, because if you do it, if you say Kevin needs to go swimming, well, do you need swimming once a year? There's no fight to that. You can't argue that. Well, yeah, we did take him swimming at the start of the year, or we plan to take him in at the end of the year. So it has to be half an hour, this day, this time, with this qualified person.
But until you know that, because what most of us are is good people, and we go, oh,
yeah, great, they're going swimming.
Lee's promised. They'll get around, you know. And then it's, well, we couldn't because the minibus, we couldn't because... Yeah. And then, but it's got to be, this is what it is.
And I think you're not going to go to tribunal because of missed one swimming session.
No.
You know, the pool's broke, we were understaffed. But if that was a constant, well, for the last 2 months, they haven't gone swimming, and the pool's fixed, then you've got grounds to go, you're not fulfilling the CHCP here. You know, so there has to be a bit of give and take. You know, and every little thing you can't jump up about it. But if it goes on too long, or if it's not the right person teaching the swimming lesson, for want of a better way, then you know you need to. That's when you've got grounds to move it forward if you've writ it right.
But it's giving yourself a fighting chance, isn't it?
Yeah, but how many people before writing an EHCP knows the law regarding them? Because I know I didn't.
No.
You know, and how many parents, when they've got a disabled child, are going to be able to stop to learn that? What was that thing we were doing a support group? And one of the lads here said,
where you could request to see all the emails
Yes.
that have been sent. What's that called?
Freedom of Information Act. I've used that a few times now with Calla, and it's proven really, really well. So that can be with any government body that you need word of. So I used it for housing OT, social worker, physio, can't remember what else, maybe speech and language. And basically you can set a time and a date that you want every single bit of communication that they've ever had to be sent to you.
And sometimes, it is as you remember it. And sometimes some of the horrible emails they've written backhandedly. So it's great if you can have that bit of knowledge to go, well, actually, Mr. Dillon wasn't as nice as Mr. Dillon was saying.
Yeah.
But it's knowing you've got that right to those. And if they say you haven't, you have, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have. And it has to be provided within a certain amount of time as well. There's up to so many pages, it's free. I can't remember the exact number, but up to so many pages, it's free. So if you went and said, I want every single bit about because you can do it with the House of Commons. I want every single thing that's been said in the House of Commons for 10 years. They're not going to pull that off for you for free, but there is a certain limit where it is free, and it's a high limit. It is high.
And the other thing, because you've been in the disabled equipment for so long, but then doing your own thing. Oh, by the way, what is your shop's name? I'll give you a shout.
Unique Mobility. Thanks very much, Kev.
But then kind of things, because like in all businesses, there's charlatans about, and there's a £2,000 wheelchair, and we're going to sell it. But because you've literally been there all the time with your daughter and you're seeing these other people, you know how important that bath seat or that wheelchair or that monitor can be, and you're there to give them the best life, aren't you?
Yeah,
to make them comfortable.
That's the exact thing for me when I do it. It's the best life. So a lot of people, when they sit someone in a wheelchair or a home chair, they'll make sure that they're sitting upright, the posture's perfect, and all that stuff's important. Don't get me wrong, but you know what? Every now and again, I like to slouch.
Yeah,
Imagine being forced to sit up like this, really upright all the time. And it's not only that. With a lot of children, they will sit them all upright, they'll strap in, they'll put the supports here. And don't get me wrong, you should be doing this. But every now and again, actually let those supports off, because the way to build muscle is to use them. And if you're upright and you're rigid in here, how are you going to build the muscles that keep you upright and learn how to balance you? You know what I mean? So if you start tipping forward as a child, you realise, I'm tipping forward, and you use your muscles to bring you back. And it's just like the same principle. Now, again, that won't be every single child, because the tone will be way too low. They'll be too severely disabled. But on top of that, to think about it he's going to sit in that chair all the time. Well, actually, no, that kid will probably want to get out and about. And even if it's being pushed, they're going to want to go. So what terrain do you plan on using this wheelchair for? Do you like going to the park? Because I'd like for you to be able to do the things you like. So if I tell you a wheelchair and it doesn't go over the grass, it's useless.
Well, in that, make it comfortable, for the person and the people who are pushing it or monitoring it.
Exactly. That's it.
Well, every weekend we go to the beach. Well, that ain't sound ready. Or we go around Merry Hill, or whatever it is. When I look at wheelchairs, my granddad Bernard had Parkinson's, and all them years ago, a wheelchair was a pushy wheelchair. You had the handles, and you'd push, and you put your foot on the back, and you'd pick him up to get him on the. But I look at them nowadays, and we're just looking in the future, aren't we, with some of these wheelchairs? Yeah.
But again, I think there's a lot more emphasis as well on the care of the person pushing it. So now you can get power packs that help you push up hills and push, because ultimately, the children are getting older, getting heavier. And because most of the parents with disabled children won't have a hoist until a certain age, you've spent all your time lifting them and hurting your back, to be quite honest. So yeah, the weight, but again, that's a conversation that the people who are selling wheelchairs should be having. How you pushing this? Do you think you could push this up a hill? You know what I mean?
That's it. And with everyone getting bigger, from the carers to people in the wheelchair, it is hard, when you go up these hills or whatever. It is flipping heavy because then you've got this person plus the machine, haven't you?
Yeah. And I mean, for instance, Calla carries an oxygen bottle with her, so straight away the weight's
More
up.
weight.
Yeah, she obviously carries the bag. It's over on our back or on the wheelchair with just a nappies in, and the bits and bobs she needs. So before you know it, you're talking at a guest with her in the chair, 60 kilogram with her, the chair, and everything that's on it.
Mm.
So it's not a bad weight to keep pushing up hills.
I mean, if people have to cut, they're not from the Black Country, they can't get to your shop. Could they contact you and just say, look, we're looking at getting this, can we pick your brains?
Yeah, of course.
And what would be the Black Country Blokes? It's easy.
Yeah.
Get in touch with us, and then if you want any other information,
I have to give you the shop number. So that's 0121 630 3850.
and we'll put down the show notes as well.
Yeah, I'll put in the show notes.
Do you want to do that one more time?
0121 630 3850.
Because sometimes, we're there, we're living in London, or we're living there in Australia, but it's just a bit of information.
Well, there's two sides of our business as well, and the healthcare. So we have mobility, which is the shop, which in truth that's more basic mobility, so your basic wheelchairs, your everyday living aids, and then we have unique healthcare, which is your specialized equipment. So that'll be your specialized wheelchairs, your sleep systems, and that is countrywide anyway. So we'll come out to you with it.
But it's to help focus, isn't it? Because I imagine flipping heck, when I had my baby, like picking a buggy, and then it's what do you want this buggy? Do you want this buggy? Do you want this buggy? And then you go, or a car seat, and sometimes it's so overwhelming. All this, but if you've got someone who
what the real difference is there, Kev. You pick the wrong buggy, you might have wasted what 200 to 400 quid. You pick the wrong wheelchair, it's uncomfortable for everyone involved. It takes a lot of time to then get it right, and a lot of cost. And it costs a lot more than 300 and 400 quid to begin with.
We've got to have that honest person to give you, come and see how you are sitting in it. And if the person who's sitting in it is verbal, they can tell you as well, can't they?
Yeah.
And listen to how they feel, and you get to know people, don't you? You can see, your loved ones, and if they're feeling comfortable, or, and because they're the people who's going to be in it. They've got to have one of the biggest sides about it, don't they?
They have, yeah. But if they're non-verbal, you need to be engaging with the family and making sure, because like I can tell you what my little one wants, and she's non-verbal, but I know, and it's the same, exactly the same with everyone. They'll soon go, actually, she's uncomfortable there, or actually she absolutely loves that, or he loves that, or whatever it may be. Yeah.
So before we go, Emily, when I say we, I ain't doing it with you.
You can do one with me, Kev.
Oh, I might do it in London.
I might do. Obviously, we're in Buckingham Palace. Well, I might actually ask the boxers if they want to do one of the last ones from here, and we'll get a gang together and go for
That'd be nice.
Go for a really slow run at that point, probably.
Yeah,
we'll sort it.
So, Emily, you done now 5 or 6?
6, so my 7th day tomorrow, which will be, to say tomorrow, we're releasing this late, aren't we?
Yeah.
So by the time this is released, I'll be on my 8th day.
Brilliant. And for anyone who's on the journey with you, how can they donate to you, Nikki, or any of the gang?
So we have a Just Giving page, which I will add the link to on this video.
Brilliant. Is there anything you want to say?
No, I think we've covered everything. It's been a nice chat.
Got any sayings or quotes that helped you get through life?
Have you? Come on, Kev. You know I haven't. You have though, haven't you?
Go on then. For this. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. And for some people have got a lot more pain in their body than you have. So just let it go. Let it go and focus on what is good in your life. And the people in this room, we've got plenty to be grateful for. So, yeah. Well, guys, thank you as always. Please donate, because it's going to make such a difference to this wonderful charity. And as always, thank you for listening. So I want you all to take care of yourselves and each other. Ta-ra a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.